Dogs are trash. That's why they need to be trained. Harsh and rash, hence the need to restrain. These hogs and brats, offensive leeches we hate. They often clash with every feature that nature creates. Just plain rancid and lame, humanity needs to sweep its streets, until not a single stray remains, plus a decree not to feed the beast, or to allow them to stay, any place really, but deaf not when unleashed, and able to stray, and thus wreak havoc until the people are squeezed. There is simply no need. That is all I wish to show you. But their sympathizers don't heed or give a damn what we go through. Bleeding heart creeps, but only for these freaks. Dog nutters simply won't do. What's best for the rest of us, wrestling us over pests, and for control too. Hello and welcome back to Demystifying the Dog.
At a fundamental level, dog ownership is a lifestyle consumer choice, and dog owner is a cultivated identity. I don't fancy the idea of randomly taking in something from a completely foreign species that will be relying upon me, and picking up its feces every day is not how I want to spend my precious and limited time on Earth. It's also just strange. Most animals fend for themselves, and we do not generally house and feed them or influence their behavior. Their domain is outside, and we certainly don't encourage the presence of wild canines or any other predators, which dogs are as well, in human settlements. Dogs may have been artificially bred and domesticated to be reliant on our species, but at base they are still just another mammal in the order Carnivora. And again, we leave most animals to their own devices. Most of them stay in the wilderness and avoid us as a general rule, even sometimes when we are on their turf. Animals commonly found in cities, such as birds, small reptiles, and so on, simply do not present the problem the presence of dogs does. Personally, I don't see the point of having a dog at all. Even in the best-case scenario, they are a constant annoyance and resource drain. It's all about feeding and walking it. The latter involves taking it out to deposit feces and urine onto our streets and green spaces, as well as any number of public areas. This is not a nice thing to do, to say the very least. It is very inconsiderate. Dog ownership also entails constantly cleaning the various messes they make, as well as being annoyed when they bark or do countless things which they must be trained not to do. Dogs consume resources and produce waste. Anything else they do, besides consumption as well as destruction, which they often engage in as well, it is only because they are trained to do so under human direction. Time spent on literally anything else is infinitely better. Having a dog imposes so many limitations, and it complicates even the simplest of matters. It's a bit of a slave and master dynamic as well. The dogs are enslaved in a sense, but owners are definitely slaves to the biological needs of these mammalian crap machines. These perpetual fecal factories and sentient flesh shredders with no natural purpose. And I will continue to come back to that, because that's literally all dogs create: waste. It's also just extremely unclean and messy. Even if you bathe the dog regularly, you will constantly have dog hair, dander and filth that was trapped in the dog's fur circulating in the air inside your living space. Dogs often shake themselves, and when they do so they spread that nastiness everywhere. Not to mention they will drool all over the place as well. Dogs also absolutely reek, and I wouldn't want my house to smell like dog. The area around the food and water bowls will have to be decontaminated and cleaned every day. You have to worry about the dog getting on furniture and ruining it all the time. It is impossible to have an indoor dog and a clean house at the same time. And if you live in a flat or a smaller house, it's not even good for the dog. After all, dogs like to run around and probably need quite a bit of space. However, most people don't have several acres of land, yet they get dogs that only exist because they were bred to run around after sheep or go along on hunts. It doesn't even make any sense. It would be more sensible to have it as an outdoor dog, but then again, outdoor dogs bring a whole different set of problems, namely nuisance barking and the constant possibility of them escaping and becoming an annoyance or a danger to others, depending on what kind of dog it is. It's also a potential liability, like in the case of a larger dog capable of killing a person. I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I chose to own a creature that ruthlessly mauled a child or attacked anyone, frankly. I'd hate to contribute to such needless and easily preventable suffering and loss for others. A dog cannot be raised. It can only ever be conditioned against its natural instincts. Dogs are driven purely by its drives and its defective instincts. And a dog out of the box, as in with no training, will act on instincts that will cause it to do any number of gross, potentially dangerous and inappropriate things. As someone else put it, you basically have to train the dog out of the dog to make it tolerable, and even then, there's nothing to get out of a relationship with a dog. They're also not very receptive to human affection, and you cannot communicate with them in any meaningful way. They're incapable of empathy and only tolerate you as long as you function as a food dispenser for them. All of this costly maintenance and mess-making, and for what purpose? Just to feed a short-lived predatory foe animal, which is designed to eat other living creatures, an artificial diet, and in order to be forced to do a bunch of extra cleaning all the time. Why would a person do this to themselves? Which is to say nothing of the inherent lack of consideration for others. Owning a dog is socially irresponsible, environmentally destructive. And again, depending on the type of dog, they are dangerous. Many dogs are dangerous, not only to their owners but to others as well. Additionally, dogs are unsightly. I do not even want to look at a dog, let alone have one living in my house or even outside of it. For that matter, I do not want a dog within 20 miles of where I am at any given moment. This is something I said 2 episodes back, but it bears repeating. Dogs are not only completely unnecessary, they also cause an innumerable amount of far-ranging social and environmental problems. If something causes that many problems, then there had better be a good reason to have it around. However, there is no good reason to have dogs around at all. I have long maintained that there is absolutely no need for anyone to own a dog or to be forced to come in contact with one.
Why is it that people need dogs to make themselves happy? Is your life so meaningless that you must resort to having an animal to bring you happiness?
And here is another thing. So, the most common issue associated with nuisances caused by dogs alone is barking. But as you can see here, there is a school of thought that over-socialized dogs are a nuisance and a problem. This just goes to show that dog defenders will tell us that dogs are not only an issue because they aren't socialized enough, but also because they are socialized too much. And, as I'm sure I've made very clear by now, I think this whole idea of having to socialize a dog is a crock of shit. As others have long noted, and as I have also said on several occasions in response to dog defenders who continue to cling to this stupid and useless theory, dogs are the only animals we regularly encounter that we are expected to manipulate or possess special knowledge about. That is to say, in order to interact with them in a peaceful manner. And of course, this entire notion of understanding dog body language is a crock as well. Once again, no other animals require us to behave in some special way or to go out of our way to avoid their attacks. Nothing else is attacking us on our own turf, but dogs certainly are. The bottom line is this: dogs are a nuisance at best and a serious danger at worst. What makes this even worse is the fact that dogs are very unnecessary today. There is no real need for dogs in most people's lives, and really, nobody actually needs one in order to survive. Even in rare and niche scenarios where people claim dogs are the best tool for some practical purpose, it's not as if they would be unable to cope in the absence of dogs. Suppose there was a new virus that only affected dogs, and which led to their rapid extinction. You can bet everything you have that absolutely no one would perish as a result. In point of fact, any perceived inconvenience in the absence of dogs would be overshadowed by the overwhelmingly positive impact of having no more dogs in existence.